Hi everybody, my name is Robin and welcome to my channel, BirdsEyeStitches. This is a channel about cross stitch, so if you are new here, then welcome. I hope you are here because you have a love of cross stitch like I do. And if you're returning, also welcome. It's gonna feel like you're new here because it has been so long since my last Flosstube, it's gonna be like I'm brand new. In fact, it's been so long, I don't even know if you still have to say this is a channel about cross stitch, but that's what came to me when I hit record, so that's what I'm gonna go with. We'll see. So, okay, today is Flosstube number 34. According to YouTube, it says my last video was 4 months ago. That sounds about right. As you can see, I'm in a new location, so all kinds of life updates, yada yada. I'm sure they will be sprinkled in along the way. Fair warning, I did catch COVID, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. Fairly mild case, which is great, but I do have the lingering cough. I actually took some cough medicine, which I hate taking medication unless I'm really dying, but I really wanted to record this Flosstube, and without that, I would have been hacking and nobody wants to hear that. So all is well in the Healthland, I just have the lingering cough. It takes a minute to go away, so it's okay. Okay, it's 2022. Last time I recorded, it was 2021. The end of 2021 was such a blur. I don't even know that I have the full energy to go in and figure out what I did that last year and what goals were accomplished and all of that. So I'm just gonna start fresh with 2022, and that's okay. The things that the goals that I'm working on, or the challenge groups that I'm working on for this year, I'm keeping them simple. I'm gonna be participating in Whip Go. I'm participating in Stitch from Stash with a $0 budget. And of course the magazine monthly challenge group, which is the Facebook group that I run with my friend Carolyn Seasook Stitch. So getting back into that as well. So those are the three that I'm focusing on. I will show you what I have been working on as of the last month or so. I've got a finish to show, as well as the plans for this next month as I get everything put together and start getting back into the cross stitch hobby. Tiny life update. In the last few months, as you can see, since I am in a new location, I've been going through a divorce. And all is well in that land, but there's still a lot of change and a lot of things that occur when you're moving through such a big life change. Along with that has come a new place to live and packing away of all of the cross stitch items, which I just think with new job, divorce, all of the changes, it was just really hard for me to get into wanting to cross stitch and into wanting to plan and wanting to pull things out because it was just so different. Now that we are getting close to February, things are evening out just a little bit, and I'm starting to feel, getting my mojo back, I guess you could say, in life and in stitching. So now I'm getting my mojo back when it comes to Flosstube. So, okay, I guess we're gonna start. I have this fancy notebook. It's beautiful. A coworker actually got this for me as a gift. I think it was supposed to be used for work, but it's just so pretty that I like to use it for my cross stitch. So in this notebook, I am using it to do all of my planning. So the first page is my Whip Go board. This guy here. I'm gonna use this notebook as my template for today's cross stitch video. So, Whip Go. For January, they called the numbers 2 and 19. My number 19 was Snail House, I think is what it's called. I call it Snail House, it's by Owl Forest Embroidery. I put quite a bit of time into the snail house. My daughter actually chose this cross stitch pattern. She really wanted it to be hung in her room. So I have basically been just focusing on that piece over this last month. Which was fine because it was called for number 19, which is fantastic. My goals for Whip Go are to do 8 hours for each square called, so it worked out perfect. This is the Owl Forest Embroidery Snail House. it is a kit. And in the time that I spent over this last month, I actually have a finish. So this is Snail House. It's the full kit, so it's called For Everything, which you know is weird for me, but let's see if I can hold this up with something behind it. This will work. Put it on my Garan bag, one of my favorite ones actually. Okay, looks like this. So I did not do the bottom border area. You can see on here how there's a little bottom border with grass and whatnot. We didn't do that, and I'll show you the frame here in a moment, but we didn't do that because I found a frame at Goodwill. You know, I love the Goodwill shopping, but I found a frame, and if I put that border on the bottom, it didn't quite sit right. It was off center because the frame kind of barely fits, but my daughter loved it, and so we just did a very simple border on the bottom, and it turned out beautifully. This was actually my first Owl Forest kit where I used all of the called for floss, and the floss is so pretty. I don't think I will ever go back to stitching an Owl Forest pattern with anything but the kitted up fabrics, because it was that nice. So highly recommend. The frame that I'm going to put this in, I got the iron, so I'll be ironing this probably tonight so I can get it all framed up. The frame that I found at Goodwill is this guy here. I could frame my own head in there kind of, but looks like this. Honestly, I am not a fan of gold, but my daughter loved it. And if I lay it over the snail here, if I can get it to sit, well, you get the gist. It's something like that. You'll see it on the next video, but either way, I was super excited because there was a finish. My daughter's piece was done, and I was able to mark off a box on my whip go board. Now, unfortunately, I actually had this listed twice because I thought it would take longer than it did. So on the other square that it's listed for, which is number 11, I'm gonna have to substitute that. No big deal. So the other square that was called was number 2, which for me is going to be New Year in the Village by Alessandra Adelaide. So I will show you where I'm at on that. I'm planning to work on that tonight, but I have not worked on it yet this month. So I'll be a little bit behind, but that's okay. So, okay, with that said, I'm gonna dive a little bit into plans because I think it's going to match up with this book. So, all right, let's go. Let's see what's on top here. Okay, other plans. So WIPGO numbers for January were 2 and 19. The WIPGO numbers for February are 5 and 17. My number 5 is Mother of the Ocean, and my number 17 is The Wise Old Witch. So I will show you some of these, at least where I'm going to be starting, just because it fits right into plans, and that's what I have sitting next to me. So this is The Wise Old Witch. I have that much done. I started this for maybe Mania in like 2020, and it's just been sitting in a bin ever since. So I'm here. One day it's going to look something similar to this. This is The Wise Old Witch by the Little Stitcher. That. I am using a few different colors as well as a different called for fabric. Looks like the fabric I'm using is actually a 20 count even weave. It's in the color Lilac Swirl. And I subbed out 2 colors. So as I start putting stitches into this next month, I will write down the colors that I'm using. It looks like it's almost a deep purplish color. So I've got lilac colored fabric, which is sort of coming through. It's very, very light. And then a real deep plum color for the witch. So put some progress into that. And then for number 5 was Mother of the Ocean. This is my starting point. starting here, it looks like a strange strange shape. It almost looks like I was trying to stitch, I don't know, some state in the United States. Don't ask me which one. Geography is not my strong suit. In fact, geography was like the first class that I almost failed. I was in maybe 5th grade, and our geography teacher, it was really just a whole class about memorization. So it was 5th grade. Every day you would come in and you started with a map of the United States, and it was all self-taught. So you would just sit there and you would memorize this map. And then they would give you a blank map, and you would have to fill in each state and the capital and spelling counted. And you had to get them all right. You could only have 3 wrong. And once you got them all right, you would progress to the next continent. So it was like the US, and then it was like South America, and then, I know the US is not a continent, but you get the idea. It was like North America, South America, and so on and so forth. But that was not my strong suit. Yeah, I did not get far. Anyway, with that said, I don't know what state that's supposed to be, but it looks like something odd. I also started that one in Mania. I think almost all of my Whip Go board, short of maybe 1 or 2 pieces, were all things that I started during Mania in 2020. And they're things that I started for Mania, and then I just never took them out again. So my goal is really to try to get some heavy progress, if not finishes, because most of these are actually not that hard. They're a lot of 1 color pieces. They're things that if I really dedicated a solid 8 hours of time, or 16 hours, I guess, because I listed everything twice, I should become really close to a finish. So, okay, this is Mother of the Ocean. It's by The Primitive Hare. Looks like this one day. I am stitching it. I don't even know if I have the name of the fabric I'm stitching it on. Let's see. Oh, I do. Okay, it's a Bee Stitch Me Jobelin. It's a mystery color from the fabric of the month. No, Friday Night Fight Night. That's right. And it's 32 count. So there isn't really a color listed, but it's kind of a, I don't know, maybe a peachy taupey color. It's pretty, whatever it is. I love Bee Stitch Me fabric. It's one of my favorites. So it's almost got like a pink green tint going on. So should be really nice for the backdrop. It's pretty close to the called for color. So I say this I will be stitching on next month. Since it's the end of the month, I figure I'll show you the stuff for February. But I have everything pulled out of its tub and placed into a Q-snap for easy use. So I'm working on that one. Then the piece that I'll be working on tonight, because it was the other square that was called for January. Square number 2 for me was New Year in the Village by Alessandra Adelaide. Let's see if I can pull this guy out. One day it's gonna look something like this. This one was not a Mania start. This was something I started, I don't know, 2021, I think, for New Year's, a while back. But here is where I left off. I'm pretty much starting up on page 2. It's a 2-page pattern, and I finished all of page 1, short of the beads and the metallic floss in the firework, and I'm starting on page 2. So you can't see all of it because there's a few more little houses that go off to this side, but as you can see, this is the page break. I did do some color conversion in the firework. I changed it to some blue and golds, and I'm gonna do some beading, silver beading and silver Krynic, but not till I'm done. So we are here, and I'm hoping to get 8 hours in on this piece before I get it put away. I feel like in 8 hours, I can make some pretty significant progress because there's good blocks of color in this. This is a beautiful piece. I call it the Whoville. I love the opalescent fabric. I think this is Storm by Picture This Plus, maybe? I'll let you know as I'm working on it because I've got the actual color hidden in here, but I know it's Storm. I just don't remember who made the fabric. I know it's Storm because it was just one of my very favorites, and the opalescent just really, it makes it pop for New Year's. So we are here. I'll be working on this tonight, and I'm gonna work on this for the next 8 hours of stitching. until I can mark it off of my WhipGo board. So that is it for WhipGo. Move this to the side, aka my bed. All right, next page in the book, because I kind of like this book being my template. So the next page that I have in my book is actually a tracker for how many minutes I've been putting in. So I just did the very basic January through December, each day of the month, and then how many minutes I've put in stitching. I haven't totaled them up. I'll get a total for next month once it's officially February, because I'm hoping to get some good time in later on tonight. And all right, Stitch from Stash. So as I mentioned, I am doing Stitch from Stash this year. I don't know if I'll do it the whole year, but I'm definitely going to do it the first 6 months. As I mentioned before, with kind of going through a divorce and looking for the new permanent place to live, as you guys probably know, the housing market right now, it is not a buyer's market. So things are expensive. So I'm trying to save where I can, and I have tons to stitch from. When I was moving, just boxing everything up and putting them in the tubs and whatnot, I have so much, and I'm very blessed in that I have so much, and I love that all of my stash, but I'm actually really excited to get in and use it. So I do still get monthly clubs. So I have one Floss of the Month club. I think I have a Fabric of the Month club, but I actually think I'm gonna cancel it because I have a lot of fabric, and the fabric just seems to be taking so long to reach me. It's hard for me to justify that cost going out. And then I'm part of that Bird of the Month club thing from Lilly Stitches, because it's birds and it's Lilly Stitches, and I can't say no to that. And then the A Year in the Woods series, I'm getting that one. So I have tons of monthly stuff still coming, so that should fulfill my itch. And obviously I signed up for all of those things before January, so they don't count, I guess you could say. But this month I have spent $0, which is great. And from the finish that I had on the Owl Forest embroidery kit, I earned $11. So right now I am on the ups. It was $10 for how big it was, and then you get the 10% for the fancy floss. So $11. So this is a really fun page to show right now, although as you can see, I already messed up on my totals. I thought it was only $8. You know me in sizes, wrong size, it's okay. So $11 to spend at some point if I so choose. All right, Magazine Monthly Challenge group. So I highly doubt that any of you guys who are subscribers of mine are not part of the Magazine Monthly Challenge. If you like to stitch from magazines, that is. But if you're not, go onto Facebook. There will be a link in the description box. The Facebook group has truly grown. It is full of amazing, positive individuals. We're over the 1,000 member mark, which is amazing. Again, it is a group that I run with my friend Carolyn from Seasook Stitch. In all honesty, Carolyn has been, shuffling the main load the last few months, and I love her for that. So excited that I'm finally kind of jumping back in with both feet again. I didn't do the acrostic for January, but I am working on, I've planned my acrostic for February. So for February, our monthly theme is food. So in that group, we always have a monthly theme. Typically, the theme is a magazine start or a magazine whip. Doesn't have to be, but that just seems to be the norm. Usually people, for the theme piece, they choose something from the magazine. So our theme for February is food, and our acrostic is yummy. So yes, Y-U-M-M-Y, because it's food, and food is yummy. And if you're in the US and you celebrate Valentine's Day, there's usually chocolates and all kinds of other treats, which are yummy. So, it's kind of like it's holiday, but not really. So that way, if you're not in the US or you don't celebrate that holiday, you don't feel like you can't participate fully. So anyway, Magazine Monthly Challenge theme is food. For that, I am planning a new start. The piece that I'm going to stitch is from Just Cross Stitch, December 2021. This magazine here. And I'm going to stitch this little guy here. It is called Cocoa Hot Tub, and it says Warm Winter Wishes. Let's be honest, I'm probably not going to stitch the Warm Winter Wishes, but I love the little gingerbread man and the little snowman. It's just made out of marshmallows and he's just hanging out. It's super cute. And I'm really trying this year to start stitching some cards. So I literally have to start in January in order to get them done by the end of the year. So that's where I'm at, and I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna start this guy. This will be my theme food, hot chocolate, totally fits. My goal for that is gonna be to stitch on it for 4 hours. And then for my acrostic of yummy, okay, so the Y, in my brain, the witch piece that I'm stitching on for Whipco, which the official name is the Wise Old Witch. I have it written down on the tag of the bag. It says Ye Old Witch, Y-E, Ye Old Witch. So that's the unofficial name in my head. So I use that for both Y's. So Ye Old Witch, my goal, I have 2 hours per letter, so 4 hours on Ye Old Witch. For the U, it's gonna be 2 additional hours on this guy, so a grand total of 6 hours, which maybe I'll be able to finish it in that amount of time. Lately, I don't wanna make any promises, but that's my hope. My friend Carolyn actually helped me out with how to fit this into the U. Because it's for somebody else, she says it's for you. So that will be my U. And then the 2 M's are the Mother of the Ocean, so it fit perfectly into Whipco. My favorite thing about the acrostics for the Magazine Monthly Challenge is that there's no true rules. In fact, half the fun is making things fit into our silly words. So I could fit everything from Whipco into my acrostic with the exception of my new start, which is perfect for the theme. So I love that. We do a monthly Zoom call on the Magazine Monthly Challenge Facebook group. And in that Zoom call, my friend Candy was talking about the acrostic being yummy, and we were saying how she could make things fit. And I told Candy, I said, well, technically, your name is Candy, so if it's stitched by you, everything is yummy. So it's a win-win. I thought it was clever. Anyway. All right, that is it for my plans for this next month. For this next week, my real plan is just to work on the New Year in the Village and to get some stitches in most nights. With my new job, sometimes like Mondays, certain days of the week, it's a little bit of a struggle. I have my daughter 2 nights of the week plus weekends. So the 2 nights of the week that I have her, I don't get home till late, so I don't usually get a whole lot of stitching in. But if I can even get some stitches in, 3 nights a week and then on the weekend, I'm 1,000,000% okay with that. Okay, tiny bit of haul. I realize I'm saying a ton. It's because I haven't done one of these videos in forever. So it's like we're starting over. In my next video, my goal is to not say nearly as much. Okay. All right, haul. I haven't shown any haul in like 4 months. I know I've gotten more stuff pre-2022, but I've already put everything away. With the exception of my Edward Scissorhands bird from Lilly Stitches, which I was super excited about. I was able to get one of these guys. This sits on my desk. I just have this real inexpensive pair of little scissors, but I like the color blue. It matches my desk. So this guy sits here and I use it constantly. Probably a top 5 favorite stitchy item because it's just so fitting. I love it. Okay, so we have that guy. And then I actually got my thread club for Color and Cotton for January 2022. I just got this morning in the mail. So I am part of the all colors. I get 5 skeins. I am keeping this going for this year because I love the Color and Cotton, just cotton floss so much. And I haven't seen any repeats in colors yet. And I find myself whenever I'm doing a color conversion, I almost always gravitate towards their colors. So this is what I got for the January floss of the month. This color's here. We have monkey grass, which is a beautiful, it's like a greenish brown, greenish tan, I guess. And then we have quail, which is just a nice brown. Can't go wrong with that. Maple syrup, which is my favorite style of brown. It's more of a golden, almost reddish hue. Then we have blue bonnet, which is just a nice, maybe like a little bit darker than a cornflower blue. You can see I'm gonna have to mess with the lighting in this room just a little bit. It's also really late, so I could probably open these shutters because there's no sun, but it wouldn't do any good. So that's okay, blue bonnet. And then my favorite one from this pack is Poseidon because it's a teal and I love teal. If you don't know, my favorite color schemes are gray, yellow, and teal. So this will fit right in with anything that I go to work on in the near future. And then I got the Year in the Woods #2 because I am getting the cottage garden samplings Year in the Woods monthly chart. I think that I'm actually getting this from Crazy Annie's. So it looks like this, the swans. And I also have the fox. The fox is slotted for a new start at some point this year. I've got the fabric and everything else for it. I pulled everything from Stash, so there is a little bit of conversion going on, but I am excited to start that one. In fact, I joined this club simply because I love that fox piece so much. My favorite land mammal, I guess, is the fox. And it was just such a cute pattern on such a beautiful fabric. It just caught my eye and I thought, that's the club I'm gonna join. And then of course, 2 weeks later, the Lilly Stitches one with the birds showed up and I was like, okay, that's the one that I'm going to join. But I'm just gonna do them both because I love them both. So that's where we're at. Okay, that is it. We are under half an hour, just barely, which is fine. Like I said, this is my first kind of dip my toe back into the land of the Flosstube. I have watched maybe 5 Flosstube videos in the last 4 months. I'm starting to dive back into that and I've loved trying to get caught up with some of you guys. That's pretty much my plan for the whole rest of the week, is just to watch Flosstube videos and get back into the land of cross stitch and keep stitching. Jump back on here, say hi to all of you guys in 2 weeks. I was gonna say a week, but that's not realistic. It's probably gonna be 2 weeks. So I will check back in with you then. And drop a comment if you watched the video, say hello. To those of you who have reached out, checked in on me, I appreciate you so much. Know that things are all well. I'm still positive, I am happy, I'm truly happy. My voice sounds a little bit weird. It's mainly because of the COVID and just the, it lives in your chest after you're done. And so it just makes everything you say sound a little funny and come across a little funny. But I'm hopeful that on my next video, that's kind of cleared out a little bit more because every day it's truly better. So happy stitching, happy end of January, and have a great February. And I will see you in a couple weeks. Bye.